Trump tells his supporters not to vote in the next election, which would actually be great for humanity. Crazy how much people get overly paranoid about national politics when it rarely affects their daily lives. If you ask those people about state and local happenings, they're unaware. Stop caring only about the federal government when your states and cities have a greater effect on your daily lives. Their point still stands. Local politics is much more important, especially as it relates to how federal government programs ultimately get administered and enforced by the states. And there's way too many Republicans in that position that'll listen. I feel like people are being overly optimistic about this. It's a fun story that Trump told his followers not to vote, but that's not really what he said. If we don't solve the presidential election fraud of 2020, which we have thoroughly and conclusively documented, Republicans will not be voting in 22 or 24. It is the single most important thing for Republicans to do. Which sounds more like a warning that Republican voters are so convinced the election was stolen. They may not turn up to vote because they don't think it will matter if the GOP don't buy into Trump's big lie. I'd like for Trump to tell his followers not to vote, but I don't think that's the threat here. Unless I missed another part of the statement. Besides, we all know that Trump will be directing his people to vote for Trump allies. The only question is if Trump tries to replace clear GOP favorites with Trump puppets with no chance of winning. This isn't about Trump supporters not voting. This is Trump telling Republicans to fall in line if they want his voters to vote for them. Sadly, they've been openly fucking with the voting system, corrupting it for 30 years that I can remember, and bragging about it every time they get on camera. We're now the joke that the UK Parliament was 20 years ago. We are lesser as a county, as a people, because of this abject corruption by one dedicated party of fascists. He is sending his message. Don't trust public institutions. The system is rigged against you and the only way to take it back is by force. It will be the same rhetoric that spawned January 6th. I just wish he didn't have the influence that he does. Living in Alabama and having to hear people talk about him like he gives a damn about any of them just blows my mind. I don't see how an American Civil War II is going to be great for the world. He's clearly doing this to divide the nation further. You think they will just accept the results of an election they didn't participate in peacefully?